My name is Dana Lynn Reeser, and I am the Executive Director of the Gulf Region Advocacy Center, or GRACE. GRACE is an independent, non-governmental, client-centered charity based in Houston, Texas, that provides and supports high-quality representation of indigent defendants facing the death penalty at trial or retrial. Since 2002, GRACE has been on the cutting edge of innovative and lasting reforms to ensure fairness in the administration of capital punishment. Our mission is to bring the methods of capital representation that have been successful elsewhere to bear here in the capital of capital punishment. Although Texas makes up only 6.4% of the U.S. population, it is responsible for 37.6% of nationwide executions since the reinstatement of the death penalty. At least 3 of those executed Texans are now widely believed to have been innocent. African Americans represent about 12% of the Texas population, but are nearly 50% of Texans sentenced to die. Though there have been some reforms, Texas remains at the eye of the storm because it still fails to meet the minimum standards for capital representation utilized by capital defenders all over the country. The counties responsible for 80% of Texas death sentences still do not have public defenders for capital cases. Solo practitioners without offices or institutions to support them are selected by elected judges presiding over the cases to represent most capital defendants in Texas. These attorneys lack the resources, the independence, and in some instances the will to engage in thorough investigation, aggressive pretrial litigation, and systemic challenges necessary to capital representation. GRACE is a scrappy, extremely lean, and cost-effective little charity with a demonstrated history and commitment to making systemic change through impact litigation within the context of representing individual defendants. Beginning with our life-saving representation of Calvin Burdine when he was returned from death row to Harris County for retrial because his original lawyer had slept during his first trial, to the life verdict in 2008 jury trial of Juan Leonardo Quintero Perez for the murder of a Houston police officer. GRACE has relied upon private funding and volunteer labor to bring the methodologies of successful capital defense offices around the country to bear in the jurisdictions that many others have written off as hopeless. Our creative and aggressive pretrial litigation has challenged issues of racial discrimination, lack of resources, and prosecutorial misconduct that corrupt and distort the administration of justice. We launch these collateral attacks by enrolling pro bono in individual cases, then using a combination of volunteer labor, private funds, and partnership with relevant stakeholders to litigate systemic injustice. The results have been life sentences or better for individual clients, and lasting changes to the local legal culture of some of the most hostile jurisdictions in the U.S.